All right, guys, welcome to the Drag-N-Drive Show, episode 6 today, I think. Something like that. We are rolling through this kind of stuff. I'm going to tell you, this is going to be a fun episode. I will let you know, I don't know anything about stick shift stuff, so this is also for me to learn as well. We are renaming Sick Week to Stick Week because of this episode this week. We have 3 guys that are, on the razor's edge of making a record appearance at Sick Week. So we'll talk about those guys here in just a minute. This week kicks off all of our Sick Week coverage. We've got racers on this week. We have racers on next week. And then the week before the event starts, we have Derek Putnam and Brian Loans on for episode that will be episode 8 on February 8th. So that's exciting. I'm ready for tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. So have you joined the Drag-N-Drive Addiction Facebook group? If you have, thank you for being a part of that. But guys, we are 15 people away from 10,000 members. You're going to add somebody. Make sure that they are, somebody that is going to fit in with the group that's over there and all that. All right. And then have a huge announcement to kick off right now before we start the show. The circuit event, which is the event that I host in Joplin, Missouri at Mocan Dragway on April 14th through 16th. We have been approved to bring 25 more racers onto the event. So we'll go from 100 limited to 125. Thank you so much to Carl and Craig and Tyler and the entire team at Mocan for allowing us to do that. I'm really excited about having these extra folks on. We have 38 people on the wait list, so we will obviously bring a lot more people forward. But I'll tell you, anytime somebody jumps on the wait list, that may mean they're not ready either. So if you want to join the wait list, Eric, can you share the link to the wait list? Eric is backstage right now. I'm going to bring him out right after this. He's going to share the link to the wait list in the comments. So if you guys will jump on, if you intend to show up at the event, get on the wait list. I'll be reaching out to all of the racers on that list after the episode tonight. All right, dude, that's enough of my early stuff. Let's jump in. Let's bring Eric in. And if you're new here, if you're here because of the awesome guests we have tonight, Eric, introduce yourself, tell them who you are, and we'll keep rolling.
I am Eric White. I am 815 LSX Swaps and Motorsports Paparazzi. So we do LSX Swaps on the one channel. Motorsports Paparazzi is all about event coverage. So you will see me at events taking pictures, videos. I just dropped a huge album of Drag Week
Huge.
2022.
Like
It's
like
probably
340 pictures, I think, something like that.
yeah, yep, quite a bit. So if you Facebook, you can go check out that whole album.
Yeah, it's a great one. I tagged a ton of people that I recognized in there, and so all the folks that I didn't recognize, go in there and make sure you you see the events if you were on Drag Week and at Byron. All right, so the racers we're talking to tonight, record holder for the fastest stick shift average of Drag-N-Drive, Chad Fegley. Then we've got Taylor Hedrick on, and then rounding out tonight's guest is Jeremy Howell. The two that aren't Chad are both driving Mustangs, but Chad is in a Corvette. And then we're going to try something new tonight because I want all of these guys to come in and talk to each other, as well as talking to us and the audience. So we're going to crack some beers after Jeremy's segment, and then we're going to do what we're going to call the After Hours episode tonight. So stick around. I hope the guests can stick around too, and we can go in there and talk and kind of expand on a little bit of the conversations we have coming up. But Sick Week is 19 days away, guys. 19 days. Literally, you need to dig deep in your soul and figure out if you have enough time to make the event. Like, be realistic when you look at your car as it sits right now. Because if you do not have time to finish the car or the parts are inbound, things like that, you're not mowing your yard, you're not shoveling your driveway, all that kind of, like, you need to be really serious about looking at this. Sick Week is not allowing any day of registration. So the people that are on the wait list, the example I give all the time is our Race Week family. A lot of those folks are from Colorado or West. If those folks, they can't get a call on Friday because you aren't going to make it the Friday before Sick Week and then get there in time and do it. So if you can't make it, please look at your car tonight. Make sure that you are in a spot where you can finish it before you get to the event. And if you're not, fall off, let Sick the Mag know, and so they can start working through that wait list or stuff. And I know that's not something Eric has ever had to worry about, but y'all, I'm telling you, this is the first time we've ever had any event tell people they can't come day of. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how that works out, to see if they have, are they really going to turn people away? Even if they're on the wait list, maybe they're 150 people down the wait list, but are they going to turn folks away? I don't know. It's going to be really, really interesting. But before we jump into the guests, I want to talk about our friends at Sweet Patina. Y'all, I'm so excited to have them on. They're going Blake is going to be on in a couple weeks after we get through Sick Week. They are on board. They are a sponsor of the Built for Drag-N-Drive segment for 2023. They were as well for 2022. So they have a full offering of detailed products that I've got shown here. That is all their stuff. I love the names of their stuff. Happy Ending, Detail Spray, all this kind of stuff. They have car wash soap, degreaser, interior conditioner, 11 different detail products. All products can be used on gloss, satin, matte, and patina finishes. But what got us started were these right here, the TKO hand cleaning wipes. Y'all, I'm bringing this exact tub with me. You can see it's got grubby fingerprints all over it because we use this all the time in the shop. I'll have them with me on Sick Week. What I like about that is if you are fixing a car on the side of the road and there's no water available, you can use that. Your hands smell great and they're clean. So that's a huge plus. All right, let's get to it, dude. Are you ready? Are you tired of me talking?
Not tired of you talking, but I'm ready to get started. But does something feel different here? Just
I don't
me?
know.
Is it the hoodie?
Maybe.
Hold on.
Maybe you
Hold
should
on a
take it off.
second. Hold on a second. Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
there we go. That feels better.
All right. So the running joke is hashtag fix your face there. So I'm still on the old webcam. So as you see the webcam, it will decide randomly to not make me focused. The camera won't focus on me. I'm always focused on Drag-N-Drive. So if you see that hashtag fix your face in the comments, we're working out some fun stuff for it. So, all right. First guest, obviously, Chad Fegley, I talked about a while ago. Guys, if you weren't watching any of the 1320 video stuff from Rocky Mountain Race Week, from Race Week, you've missed out. They had a ton of cool stuff. Eric, dude, Chad, we're not ready for you yet. Sorry. He's back saying, dude, you didn't even tell me about talking about the Sick Week returning champs.
Yeah,
talk about those folks.
I was excited to get to the shirt.
I get it. Hang on. Let me get this open back up because this is really kind of a fun thing here. So we got the Sweet Patina. Guys, these are returning champs. And one of our best friends, Bill Spangler, is coming back. He is champion of Pro DYO Sick Week 2022. He is making 40 more wheel horsepower, okay, and is coming back. So Pro DYO is 10-0 and faster consistency. That's what the name of the game is. The way to win that is to have the smallest gap possible between your slowest and fastest ET time. So Bill's coming back. I'm excited about that one. Our buddy Brian Anders is coming back, and he finished second for 2022, but he said that he may not do Pro DYO this time. He may look at some Ultimate Iron or one of the other classes. I don't know. It's in the message. So I'm excited to see the Chevette back. That car has had a ton of upgrades since Drag Week. And then, of course, overall champion 2022, Stefan Gustafsson, is coming back in the Corvette. They are making more power than they have in the past. They have a year's worth of testing. And then I think after this event, this car goes back to Sweden. I think he's taking it over there to beat up on everybody over there as well. So he was the unlimited champ of 2022. We know Bailey finished Drag Week in 2.0, so I think he's bringing that back. There's going to be a lot of challengers for Unlimited at Sick Week this year. And then we've got Unlimited Iron, our buddy Clint Sadowski, in one of the coolest 7-second Camaros that is out there. And this dude is awesome. Second place finished in Ultimate Iron. And again, or Unlimited Iron, these guys are folks that actually replied back to my message asking if they were coming or not. And then we've got Unlimited Iron third place. Yep, Kevin Smith and Soccer Mom. He's bringing it back with a lot of upgrades on it as well. Glenn Hunter, one of our favorite racers ever. He's champion in Pro Street. He's coming back for 2023. Pro Street third place, Hilbert Osborne. Y'all love this guy. Him and his co-pilot are hilarious. I hope they're both back this year. So it's exciting. And then we've got of course, Rich Guido. Now, here's the cool thing about Rich Guido. He won 2022. His car is, high 8-second car. And he was actually, Chad, who's on here tonight, was on the Rich Guido and Bill Armstrong Stick Shift Nation podcast, Clutch Burners podcast, a couple weeks ago. And I actually got a ton of information from that episode for the episode tonight. So after this, you watch this with Chad tonight, jump over to the Clutch Burner podcast and watch that. It's all stick shift, and it's generally centered around Drag-N-Drive racers, just because Bill and Rich know so many of those guys. But he was champion in 2022. He is coming back, and he is driving it from Canada. Frank Romano is coming back, stick shift, third place 2022. He's coming back for 2023. And I looked back on the 2022 sick week numbers. Man, I feel like I've said 2022 like 47 times. I looked back, there were 32 stick shift racers in that class in 2022. That's absolutely insane. So it's going to be interesting to see if we have more racers for that class this year. Naturally aspirated, the Tab Scotts are coming back. Doc McIntyre is coming back in the Sea Red Camaro. So we're going to have some really, really wild stuff. What I like about the NA class at Sick Week is they also have like 6 different ways to win in that, because they do a first and second for modified NA, Pro Street NA, and something else in NA. I don't know. And then, of course, some of our favorite people, the Sweets, they're coming back. Naturally aspirated third place last year. They've got a new combo, I think Jerry was saying a couple months ago. They've got a new combo that's going in. I know they had the engine out at one point, so more power this year, should go faster. And then I think we've heard they're going power adder once we move past 2023. Anyways, and then the last person that has confirmed they're coming back is Tony Nimchik in the Freaks class, obviously with his 8-second Mitsubishi Eclipse. Love that car. It is absolutely nuts. It's fun to watch an all-wheel drive 4-cylinder car launch, because they basically hop to about 60 feet. It's like this just rocket ship. There's no, fast lead up. It's just all forward. So that's the folks that I know that are coming back for 2023 that were champions or placed in 2022. So, all right, dude, that's enough of me. I feel like I've talked a whole lot. We should let Chad talk some.
We got one question here you might be able to answer.
Yeah.
Will you have regular scheduled time on race days to be live?
My plan is to do a daily dose of Drag-N-Drive every morning as I run through the pits or something like that. Let's plan for 8 a.m. Eastern time. That would provide some folks that are in the central part of the country to be able to watch it, maybe on their way to school or work or whatever. And then I'll do, kind of a recap of the day before, and then also run through where everybody stands, any cool stories and things like that. So we'll plan for 8 a.m. Eastern every day of the event.
Perfect.
Right. Yep. All right, let's run through here. You've been showing comments. I haven't even been looking at them. Anything cool we need to discuss? I don't guess so, huh?
I don't think so. Not yet. Other than
perfect.
Best shirt ever.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Fix your face is always a good one. All right, guys. The gentleman we're bringing in, Chad Fegley, is so cool. This car is awesome. Of course, I didn't bring up any pictures of it, which I should have, but there's actually one on your wall behind you.
Right there.
That is a favorite picture of mine, bar none. And I don't know who took that, but it's so cool seeing just the flame bursts and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was from 2021. My wife blew it up for me, and I have it here in my office, and I love the picture. Everyone that sees it loves it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, we love that car too. There's a lot of really neat things I heard in the episode with Rich and Bill that we're going to talk about here tonight. A lot of really interesting parts of things that you've built on that car, or like placements of it and things like that. Anyways, let's jump into it. Tell people who you are, and then where they can follow like the build or what you're doing on social media.
Cool. My name's Chad Fegley. I own and operate the Shop Inc. here in Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm really only on Facebook, but I interact really good on Facebook. So if you ever have any questions for me or whatever, just hop on Chad Fegley. It's a picture of me and my mom. And as far as my shop, it's a performance shop mainly. We still do regular automotive repair as well, but try to focus on just performance stuff. I have a couple chassis dynos, A lot of fabrication equipment.
Did you say a couple chassis dynos?
Couple. Yeah, I have a Mustang dyno and a dyno jet.
So, I mean, obviously, the first question everybody asks, yes, they do read different, I would think.
They do, yeah, and that's why, I started with the Mustang dyno and just got tired of explaining to people why the numbers are lower than what they were expecting. And so when I was able to purchase a dyno jet, I jumped on it. That way, if they want to know, I can show them.
That's right. So, but how hard is it to explain to people that the dyno is just a tuning tool? Like, we're not looking at final numbers here. I'm looking at trying to tickle these keys and make this right.
It's better now. Back in 05, 06, all they cared about was what the numbers were. Now people are starting to realize it's just a tuning tool and numbers really don't mean all that much. Just depends on what it does at the track.
Right. Well, currently you are, like I said earlier, you are the quarter-mile national Drag-N-Drive event record holder with your 2022 race week average of 8.063. Dude, and you ran a 7 during the week.
And it's crazy. Like, if I would have known that my average was going to end up at 8:06, I can't remember what day it was that I ran like 8:30 and turned in that time slip. Like, I would have went and made another pass, But 8:06 is amazing. Like, I think that's just awesome.
It really is.
Yeah, I was super happy with that.
And I think it builds up to 2023 as well, because race week is one of the last big events of the year. You have race week, and then you have drag week right behind that. So there's now next year they'll be different because we'll have death week, but landing it there at the end of the season, I wonder how many people went, oh man, dang, I'm not going to be able to beat that this year. Dude, an 8.0 is absolutely insane. So let's talk about some of the, obviously, work that goes into putting a car together like that. One, because I understand you have the factory location for the trans and stuff still. Is that right?
Yeah. The trans and diff is still all factory location, still independent rear suspension.
Dude, that's insane. I've got here you were the first 7-second pass in Drag-N-Drive for a stick shift car. That's pretty awesome. And then you've done 3 race weeks. Any plans to move out into some other stuff? I know you guys are in Nebraska, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
You gonna make the venture to another event possibly?
It just depends on scheduling. What I really liked about Race Week 2.0 is it was later in the year when we weren't super crazy busy, so I could be away from work, which is the same for now for Sick Week. It's kind of our slower time, and it's cold as shit here. So a perfect time to get to Florida where it's nice, So it just kind of depends on what the scheduling's like.
That's awesome. Well, 2020, I want to ask you about that because I have you as a DNF, and then I heard in the Clutch Burners podcast that was because of a broken rear axle.
Yep.
So first, have you
towed all the way out there? I built the car for Drag-N-Drive, like that's what it was built for.
Yes.
Went there for the first one, excited, nervous. Launched first time with the slipper clutch. Did some weird stuff. Shifted through, and I can't even remember. I think it was third gear. I felt it do some weird stuff. And so I lifted and coasted, got out at the end of the track and crawled under the back, and the diff case had broke.
Oh man, ouch!
Wow.
That is no good.
The good thing is it was day one, so the truck and trailer were there, so we didn't have to try to get to there. But it was disappointing for sure.
Yeah, as Eric will learn when he begins to compete in the 240 or his Mustang, you always want to brake on day one. Like day one or the last day when you're by the truck, that's for sure. Getting home is hard, but then you come out in 2021 and lay down an 8.635 average, and I think at that point you knew you were onto something.
Yeah, 21 was kind of weird. I had goals to I wanted to run 8s at every track was my goal.
Nice.
So he showed up day one off the trailer. I ran I think it was like an 880 or something. So I was just ecstatic. We worked a little bit first day, and I think I got down to an 860. And then we kind of just cruised through the rest of the week, just trying to maintain that and do what we needed to do. And meanwhile, Garrett was having some issues with Leroy, and suddenly I'm in first place. And I wasn't expecting that at all. I was just ready to let Garrett have it, and I would just be happy with my 8s. And then we came to the final day, and decided to do a little bit of tweaking on it, and man, it didn't love it. It was just a couple
Yeah.
of pounds of boost and some couple degrees of timing, and I was running an 820. And then I added a couple more pounds of boost and ran an 809. And I never in my wildest dreams did I think that it would be even close to that, but
That's wild that you are still on a stock rear diff setup and running those kind of times. I mean, typically, like a lot of the vet guys go to like a live rear axle, right? I mean, am I crazy to think that?
dude, yeah, Garrett, like with Leroy, had the same as I do up until this last year.
Yeah.
It definitely can break a lot easier. I feel they're definitely not as strong,
Yeah.
and it's an IRS, so you don't have good adjustments for four link like you do going
Yeah.
straight axle. You're kind of just dealt with what you have.
Yeah. And definitely, I think you were saying in the other episode we're going to talk about in a minute, as you launch, there's no way to, not squat. What's the other way? What's the other direction?
It squats, yeah. An IRS car squats. It doesn't have
Yep.
anti-squat, which
There you
normally
go.
you want with a radial car. You want to have anti-squat, and an IRS car, you're pretty much just dealt with what it has. It is what it is.
So in that case, and this is probably more than we need to ask, but are you turning the compression up? You're trying to limit the compression on the rear?
Yeah, like I haven't really even played with my shocks. Aside from the first time that I went to my local track, the first time on the radials, Joey and I just played with 60-foot times and adjusted it to where we got it to work at our home
That's
track.
awesome.
And I haven't touched them since, honestly. Just left them where they are, and
Yeah, hey,
so
it
there's
works for
probably
that.
some to be picked up there too at some point. But
That's cool. Well, first you got to lay down a 7, then you can start picking it up. Now,
right.
you told the clutch burner guys that car is probably capable of some low 7s, like 740s. Is that right? I mean,
I
like
feel
that's
like it is for sure.
crazy.
So a 794 was with 32 pounds of boost on a 102 Pro Mod 102. I mean, that thing will make 50 some pounds of boost.
Wow.
How much power it'll make at that, I don't know, but I fully expect to be in the 40s for boost at 6 weeks. So
Yes.
we'll see what
Let's
it
go.
does and go from there.
Yeah, that's exciting. Well, I'm telling you, I'm
I
going to be
figure
down
worst
there.
case, if it breaks, I'm in 80-degree weather.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, you're on vacation already. So,
Yeah.
well, one of the biggest questions everybody always asks is power level. I mean, are you willing to give up some of kind of what you make? Maybe tell us our
For sure.
Mustang dyno number. That's
Right. So, it makes 1400 wheel at 23 pounds.
wow.
Like I said, I run 32 pounds was what I was on
Yeah.
the 794 run. I launch at 8 pounds, and then by the time I'm out of first gear, it's about 25 pounds, and then shortly into second gear, it's at 32.
Golly, man, that's
Do you,
awesome.
do you want to tell everybody a little bit about the car? What's done to it?
Sure.
Kind of a
Yeah.
little
It's
about
a
it.
LSX block, trick flow, LS3 heads. It's a Pro Mod 102 turbo. It's on methanol when I'm racing. Mechanical fuel pump, cable drive deal. Face plated T56, 340 ratio rear end on a 315 radial.
Wow.
Chassis 25.2 that I built for it last year.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
a pretty
Sorry,
big undertaking.
I can only imagine. What
Yeah.
you had said that your wife is going to sick week with you. What how does she feel about getting in and out of that thing?
Well, I've been giving her a hard time because she went with me in 21, and that's when it still had the 850 cage with the swing outdoor bars and the stock Corvette seats. So I told her that it's going to be a little bit more barbaric now
Yeah.
than it was then. So she's been warned. We'll see.
Now, this picture I just pulled up real quick from Facebook, but this is a shot. Looks like it's from 2017. So I pulled that up from the shop.
Yeah,
But
that's at my home track. Yeah,
yeah,
I-29.
car looks completely different now. It has this like big turbo inlet laying like right
Yeah,
here.
that was actually when it was pro charged.
Yeah. So
So
do you
when
want
did
to
you
give us?
switch?
Yeah.
When did you switch from Pro Charge to Turbo?
So if I DNF'd in 20, it must have been 19 to 20 was when I switched it over.
Okay.
Wow.
And
Because I really
kind
didn't
of
have. Actually, that's not true. I raced at Joe's Memorial Race for the first time with the turbo on it. man, my dates are horrible. I think Joe died in 18, so I must have had it ready for 19.
And what
Wow.
made you switch from Pro Charge to Turbo?
Belt slip and broken belts. Every time I'd be on the two-step, I would, not every time, but a lot of times I'd break a belt. And with the way the Pro Charger setup was on the car, it was a freaking nightmare to put a belt on it.
Mhm.
And I didn't get a race very often. And I remember I towed to Kearney to race one day, put it on the two-step, first run out, broke the belt. And I said, that's it. I'm done.
I'm
I'm
not
not going
doing
to
this
deal with that
anymore.
anymore. Yeah. So,
Well, you said the trans is a G-force. I've got in my notes here, it's face-plated T56.
yeah.
What
Yeah.
what kind of RPMs are you running on the highway? I mean, you got to be nothing.
It's good. And I need that. So with my
Yeah.
radiator in the back, it's pretty weird. It's almost opposite problem of what people would think. The car can sit in idle in 100-degree weather all day long and
Mhm.
never get over 170. It's got some weird airflow issues going on, and I've tried with different uh, ducting and stuff to make it better.
Mhm.
But the faster I go, the more RPM I get on the road, the hotter it gets.
Hmm.
So I've been trying with tall tires and everything to get as RPM as low as I can cruising to keep it to run cool. So
Yeah.
I normally cruise at 55 or 60, like 1500 RPM just to keep it
Wow.
cool.
Dude, that's crazy. just puttering along.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, stick cars are driven by the clutch and your left leg, but a lot of that takes, do you want to walk through a little bit of, who you use for the clutch and how that stuff is set up to a guy that doesn't understand anything about slipper clutches or Bill's, his bank shift Billy, anything like that.
Right. Yeah. So the clutch I run is a Black Magic. Um, it was a game changer between the slipper clutch and the face plated tranny was just night and day on how the car react. Back when I had a diaphragm clutch, I had to be on slicks just because it hit the tire so hard. You had
Mhm.
to have something that could take that. As soon as I switched over to the slipper clutch, it's been a little bit of a learning curve, but I also feel like it's been pretty smooth. Like I said, we went to my home track, which doesn't hook the greatest. So I knew that if I could go hook there, that I could go on race week and feel pretty confident that it would go down any track. And that's exactly what it's done. And I've pretty much left that clutch setup in the car until sick week. I'm going to plan on trying to get a little bit more aggressive with it.
That's
But
awesome.
otherwise, I have the clutch tune up and I don't change it. It's the same on the drive as well as racing. It just is what it is.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. And you obviously driving a Corvette, you probably pull a trailer, right? I think one of the
Yep.
pictures I
Yep.
saw. Yep. So how does that affect? I guess I guess it doesn't affect it if you're cruising along. It doesn't make it hot and slimy and stuff like that, right?
No, it's
Wow.
really good. Sometimes I've noticed with the slipper clutch, depending on what kind of load we're having, I can make it slip at super low RPM. Like if I'm trying
Mhm.
to get good load at 1,000 RPM, the clutch will want to slip a little bit, but all I got to do is get the RPM up a little bit and thing just drives awesome.
Man, that's so cool. That's awesome. And then let's talk about rear setup because obviously there's got to be some beefier pieces in that.
There is the diff is RPM. The tranny was RPM too. I originally bought the tranny from RPM and they used a face plated gear set.
Oh,
And
cool.
then since then I've rebuilt it a couple times, but the diff is all RPM. When I tried to rebuild it myself, and that's when the case broke. And I don't know if it was my fault or if it just was something else. So after that happened, I sent it to them and let them do their magic, and it's been good from then. And then I got G-Force Outlaw axles in it, and they're heavier than crap, but knock on wood, they've been holding up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that I think at that point that I would rather have some rotational weight and it live than be lightweight and not live.
for sure, for sure. And it kind of scares me because, like I said, I've been pretty light on my clutch setup. So
Hmm.
I feel like I've been pretty nice to the parts, but I want to go faster. And to go faster, you got to do it at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to get more aggressive with it. So hopefully we can make all that live.
Yeah. That and then during shifts, that's the other side of
Yeah.
it is the quickness of the shift. Bill was talking about that one time about just being able to gain the just milliseconds between that adds up to so much, especially if you're, going to fourth gear by the end of the track.
For sure. Absolutely.
We got a
And
question here.
yeah,
Ever thought of running a bank shift Billy versus a slipper?
I mean, if I still had a diaphragm clutch, 100% I'd have a bank shift Billy on it. I think that's the best way to make a diaphragm style clutch work. I've got the slipper, so I'm going to run it,
yeah,
but 100% the bank shift Billy would make a diaphragm clutch act more like a slipper for sure.
yeah.
So for those non-stick shift people, could you elaborate a little bit on bank shift Billy and what a slipper
Yeah.
is?
So what it does, and hopefully I'll do Bill justice on how it all works, but um, it essentially is a solenoid control that you can program. So you can let off the clutch all the way, but the solenoid's controlling the application or the release of the throwout bearing. So it can be more precise than your foot can, and it can somewhat slip the diaphragm clutch easier to make it act more like a slipper.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And once engaged, it's not, like it's over. Once it's disengaged, it's done. Like it doesn't slip for second gear and third gear and things like
Right.
that, which is a huge plus. Um, and then tires, talk about like the tire compound and stuff you use for it.
I just run a 315 Radial Pro. Um, I drive on the same tires that I race on, mainly because, like I said earlier, I need height to get
Yeah.
the gear ratio,
Yeah.
and I couldn't really find a street tire that was that tall, and my trailer's not big enough to put it on there, so I drive on them, and it was good the first year. Last year at race week, we ran into a rainstorm, and it was white knuckle. It scared the shit out of me. So I'm sure we'll run into rain in Florida in February. So
Yeah.
hopefully I'll just drive slow, and it won't be at night, and it won't be in downtown Dallas, and it'll be better.
Dude, the Dallas trip was brutal. So I don't know if you remember, but we have the Narcs cart, which is the Grand Marquis that's got it's like a roll cage body, right? So we got up at like 6:30 that morning to head out of town and made it out just before the rain. But everybody in behind us, we'd see them at gas stations, whatever, they would catch up to us, and they were like, "That was insane! That was insane
It
cruising
was
through
not a good
all
night. I
that
didn't
traffic."
enjoy
Yeah,
that drive. It wasn't. Thank God
yeah,
for the trailer having tires on there, because I feel like the trailer kept my car. Like
nice.
there's times I could feel the car going sideways, and the trailer would straighten it up. It was hairy
Yeah, having the extra weight there's a huge plus.
for
Um,
sure.
I do think racing and driving on the same tire is probably a great way to save your back, because there's so much workload that's put into making the switch over at each track. You got to think, like, if you pull in, and this is for people that are at home thinking about doing one of these events, if you're at home or if you're at the track and you go to, every day you've got to, so one, you're carrying the jack to the car, two, you're jacking it up, three, you're on and off of the tires, and then it's on and off of the tires again after you're done racing. So and with radial tires these days, I mean, I think that's probably the best way to go if the weather's going to be good. Now, if it's going to rain every day, you better have some street
Actually,
tires.
the first year I was on slicks for race week, and then I borrowed a buddy's trailer that had the mounts, so I
Hmm.
took a spare that I was going to drive on. I don't know how that would have went because I didn't get to do it, but I'm glad that I made the radials work, because
Yeah,
it just works out really well.
yeah. I mean, one thing you can do is just tell your wife to do them. That's the best way to
Right,
handle that. Hey, honey,
for
thank you
sure.
for coming on this big, hard, long trip with me. Thank you for sleeping 4 hours a night. Will you change those tires, please?
Right. And it's going to be kind of weird. I didn't realize till recently that sick week is opposite of race week in the fact that you race in the morning and then drive. So it's
Yeah,
just kind of different how my brain's computing
yeah.
how all that's going to work out. But
It's way different for racers. It's way different for media too. But I love the night racing of race week and Rocky Mountain. 1.0. I love the night racing because, one, it allows your adrenaline is flowing all day to get to the track to make
right,
passes. Right. If you race in the mornings, you spend a ton of your energy and adrenaline that morning getting the car ready, making passes, and then loading up and driving for, luckily on sick week, we don't have a 300-mile trip, but,
right.
150, 200 miles. So,
Got another question
yeah.
here. Red Hat Scotty is saying, what if you cut a drag radial on the road? What then?
That is an excellent question. I actually thought about bringing one spare tire with me this year.
Yeah.
They're huge tires, and I don't have a lot of room in the trailer. So
Yeah.
more than likely, I'll probably not bring one, and I'll just be a racer in need if it happens.
Yeah, and from my understanding, Mickey Thompson's going to be there as well. So Jason and the team that are there, at any point we're not more than 100 miles from the track, which means that we're in the same vicinity as Mickey Thompson trailer and all that kind of stuff. So,
Perfect.
We can throw one. You can throw one off, and if you see a rental minivan come by you and then slam on the brakes, it's me, and we'll throw that tire in the back, and we'll go. We'll let your wife sit in the AC with me while we go get this tire fixed.
There you go.
Yeah, we got somebody saying just a variance in air pressure is the only change they make. So that's pretty awesome. And if you guys see the Facebook user here, that is someone that is in the Drag-N-Drive Addiction Facebook group. They just got to scroll down into the description and give StreamYard permission to use your name. Oh, and then Destroyer 1320 in here saying hey. And then you want to talk about your ECU, like what you use for a computer setup and things like that?
I got a Holley Dominator on the car now. I was MS3 Pro for a lot of years and just ran out of inputs and outputs. And so I made the switch to Holley last year, which also helps it. I use the rev limiter to help shift without having to use a clutch. And the Holley's really good about having the adjustments for that. And then just the massive amount of inputs and outputs really makes it nice.
And then you said on the clutch burners that you use boost by time. What does that mean?
Boost by time. So basically when I let go of the clutch, the timer starts. So I know that I'm in first gear for X amount of seconds, and I can tailor the boost based off of what the data log shows I was in each gear.
Cool.
Yeah, so it works out pretty good for that. And then I'm pretty excited this year. I finally added an input speed sensor so I can actually see what my clutch is doing on the launch.
Nice.
Yeah, it's Corvette with the training bee in the back and a torque tube. It's kind of hard to get a place to pick that up. So while I was doing the training this year, I made sure and added one. So I'm looking forward to having that data.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting to see. I love the info and the data side of stuff that we end up with on Drag-N-Drive stuff, because so many people, it's not just the cruising around that people care about. It's like, okay, how much slip did I have going down the track? How much out of the hole, all that kind of stuff. So it'll be really fun to have you back on talking about that when you set the 7-second average new setup. And then
that would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, I have a feeling we're gonna end up with a 7-second average at the end of Sick Week, whether it's you or one of these other guys on tonight.
Agreed, for sure.
Yep. One thing before we talk about Sick Week coming up, so you beat Cletus 21. You talked about that, but dude, it was by 0.11 average. That's nothing over 5 days. That's like 0.2 or 0.02 over 5 days average better than him. That's pretty cool. That had to be a good feeling. And I mean, did that come on the final day with the car turned up and stuff?
It did. Yep. Going into the first day, I was in the lead, and then Garrett was having some issues, and then I just kept tuning on the car and going faster and faster. And then we ran that 809, and I think it was going to make Garrett have to run like a 770 or something to be able to do it. So we were pretty confident then that it worked. So it was pretty amazing. It was awesome for sure. Wasn't expecting it. And that's what made it so special is, I wasn't trying to do it. It's the way it panned out. So.
Right. And then you talked a little bit about having the wife on as a co-pilot. Has she ridden in the car since the new seats and cage and all that stuff?
No. She stepped aside last year for race week so my dad could go. Mm-hmm. So she hasn't been in it for a couple of years. So.
Oh man.
She'll at least be used to the exhaust in the front. That's all the same. So that kind of bugged her the first time we went, the fumes, but.
Yep. Now, when she went with you the first time, was it 25? You said 25 2 cage, 25 3 cage. What is it?
When she went, it was just an 850 cage.
Oh man. Yeah.
So way different.
Yeah. She's going to be.
And I had HVAC in the car then. There's no HVAC now. So we learned on race week when it rained that I need to have a fan so I can blow on the windshield. So we got all that ready. And
is that the only two co-pilots you've had, is your wife and your dad?
Yep.
Yeah, so with 3 events, that's pretty awesome, and this will make 4. And then dude, it's so cool to go back and look at the historical stuff of like how your time has fallen and where we're gonna. She said she'll be fine.
She said she'll be fine.
Yeah,
she will. She's a trooper. She'll make it through.
That's awesome. That's cool. We're glad she's in here making comments and that kind of stuff. So let's talk
For sure.
about sick week plans and what you're going to do to at least drop 0.07 seconds on your average. Because that's all we need. We just need a
yeah.
790.99.
And I feel with the better elevation at the tracks, and ultimately, I'm guessing from what I've seen, tracks that hook a lot better than tracks that I've been on. Getting more aggressive with my clutch and wanting to run more boost. I mean, I want to say that my first run is going to be well into the sevens, but
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Nice. Now, are you bringing extra axles with you? That's the question I have.
I bring my stock axles with me. So if I break a good set, I've got my stock axles to put in to just get through the week on.
Yeah.
Well, and then I'm doing Streetcar Takeover the week after. So
yeah, we don't care about that event yet. You got to get through sick week
hopefully it all goes good and I can not break anything throughout the week. So
yeah, that's great, man. So you're going to be down there for a while. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah, because Streetcar Takeover. Oh yeah, it's the 24th and 5th at Bradenton, right?
At Bradenton.
Man, 2 weeks of vacation for you and your wife. What are you going to do, man?
I know. Geez, what are we going to do in good weather?
Yeah, owning your own shop, you don't even know what to do with time. You'll be working on like people's
Luckily,
cars
I've got
on the
awesome
road.
people back here that can take care of the business here, and I can be there having fun and not have to worry about business here. So
that's great. Well, we've got just a few minutes left here. What are some things that you're excited about to other racers, other cars to see on sick week? Because this is a whole new family of people. There'll be a lot of folks that you know.
I've never,
but,
yeah, I'm looking forward to the new experiences, for sure, the new people. I think it's amazing that we've got so many stick shift cars coming, just because it's such an awesome class, more the better.
Yeah.
Can't wait to watch it all unfold.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I can't either. And just to remind everybody, if Chad does hang out in the backstage, we will have everybody back on after Jeremy at the end to kind of let all these stick shift guys talk to each other. And
yeah, I'm definitely hanging out for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be really interesting to see because everybody in this conversation tonight has a different combo. I think that's what's cool. It's not there's you're the only. I guess your car's an LS or LT.
LS.
Yeah. So you're the only LS in this, and we got 2 Mustangs, which seems weird. Like I thought everybody LS swapped Mustangs, but but I guess not. So, all right. Well, if Taylor is ready, if he'll just drop me a note in the private chat, I would appreciate that. I do want to jump in and thank our newest sponsor, Molly. So, Chad, I'm gonna put you in the backstage. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. I'll see you here in an hour.
Yeah, dude. I'm excited. Thanks, man.
Cool.
All right, guys. Well, obviously anytime we can have the opportunity to thank people that have come on board and work through all of this stuff with us, we want to definitely tell them thank you. So Molly Motorsports signed up last week. If you weren't on that episode, they actually talked a little bit about the backstage side of things for Molly Motorsports. They are the official pistons of Drag-N-Drive.com. The Power Pack pistons and Drag-N-Drive cars, that's a combination worth, I guess, is a winning combination. I'll get better at reading this later, I promise. Since 2000, Molly Motorsports North America has positioned itself as a leading supplier of forged pistons and rings in the motorsport industry. Molly is a team that not only supports the community, but also races with us. Like product manager Eric Grillo, who was on last week, he races a 10-second stick shift Nova at Hot Rod Drag Week 2022 that he's had forever. He tells stories in that. And he competed in Rocky Mountain Race Week with this C10 truck it's like a primer gray with Molly on the door. Looks amazing. Isn't nearly as fast as the Nova, but looks like a ton of fun to race. He will be at Sick Week here in 19 days. So we'll see them. We'll hang out with them and all that stuff. To see the complete application guide for Molly Power Pack Pistons, visit mollymotorsports.com. Dude, I worked that out. That was better by the end, right?
Oh, that was good.
Yeah. All right. Taylor, give us a thumbs up if you are ready, sir. I appreciate Chad telling us all that kind of stuff. Oh, hey. Yeah. Andrew Nelson. Those are other guys that I'm excited to see at Sick Week. They have completely built a car that was pulled from the dumpster. They were on a couple weeks ago. Anyways, here we go. Let's bring on Taylor Hedrick. Hedrick, right? I said that right?
Yes, sir. You did.
Yeah, perfect. All right, dude. So same thing for you, man. Tell everybody who you are and obviously where they can find you on social media.
Sure. My name is Taylor Hedrick, and my Instagram is my last name. It's Hedrick03, and YouTube channel is the same. And of course, Facebook here is just Taylor Hedrick.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I know I follow you on most of that stuff. I don't think I follow you on YouTube yet, but right after this, that's where I'm going to subscribe. So everybody else that's in here watching this, do the same. We got to get this guy some eyes on YouTube and Facebook. So, dude, same stuff we talked about with Chad. We want to go over your combo. We want to talk about what your plans are. I mean, you made drag week, you made street and you're the fastest 8th mile average stick shift we have so far. So that's
awesome.
exciting. Yep. Let me jump over to my notes because I have that over here as well. Now your setup is a little different. You have a New Edge Mustang, right? Isn't that what
Yes,
it is?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yep. Your average at street and yeet in the street in the yeet stick class. Say that 3 times fast. Was a 5.397 8th mile. I love the street and yeet. That is my plan, is to get out there this coming year, probably to the fall event. But dude, we got to walk through your Hot Rod Drag Week 2022 showing, because listen, here's the thing. It happens. It happens. But you ended with an average of 11,648, but your best pass of the week was an 8,672. So tell us what happened a little bit, kind of that 10,000 foot flyover, and then about your 22nd ET.
Man, we went out to St. Louis thinking we were gonna stay at an under 850 average. We had zero chance of winning. I mean, there's no stick shift class, so there's no chance we had to win that. But our goal, obviously, finish, run my first 7-second pass, and maybe keep it under 850 as far as the average goes.
Yeah.
That went out the door really fast.
Yeah.
We finished it. That was goal number one.
Yep.
We ran a couple 8s, I think, and ended up hurting the motor, tulip some valves, and we decided to go ahead and turn whatever that pass that day was. I think that was at Byron, is where it happened, and turn that in and go ahead and unplug 2 coils, 2 injectors, and hit the road on 6 cylinders. And it did surprisingly well. My buddy Andrew Lavender was my co-pilot for Drag Week, and he sat there on the computer pretty much the entire time, just manipulating the Holly, trying to make it run better. And it wasn't bad. It was pretty impressive how we got that. But we decided I actually called it quits. I was like, I'm done. That's it. And I looked over at Andrew and I'm like, can we do this? He said, it's going to be a day, but yeah, we can. I said, I'm not giving up. I got no quit in me. So we overnighted parts from Summit, drove, I think, like 200 and something. It was a long time, 300 miles to the hotel, made our first pass. I just broke the beams and backed out. And within an hour, my buddy Ryan, Logan, and me, we had the whole entire car down to a short block.
Wow.
Parts came in, and we spent the next 14 hours putting everything back together. And taking it down to a short block for LS or something like that, isn't that big of a deal. I would rather do that any day than a modular motor.
Yeah.
But we found problems after problems after problems. I mean, there was so much little stuff, and somehow every part we needed was just there. Like somebody said, hey, I got that at home. Give me 30 minutes. I'll go get it.
Wow.
And that's the cool thing about Drag-N-Drive is nobody wants to, see you go down. That everybody, it could be the guy who, I'm within a thousandth of beating him, and he wants to help me. Like that's the cool thing about Drag-N-Drive.
Yeah.
But anyway,
they want to earn their win. That's for sure.
Yes, sir. That's exactly right. But with everybody's help, we got to the end, and I wanted to win the stick shift shootout, and that was something I really wanted to finish. But of course, the rain said no to that. But the last pass, I did like a 9-something, but I ended up bending my shifter, which I don't know if you've noticed. I have a problem with breaking and bending shifters.
So let me ask: Is it the throw to second or the throw to third that are you bending it forward or backwards?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, I mean, I've been it every which way, but usually the 1 to 2 is where I bend it. The 2 to 3 is where it bends the opposite way, and it ends up breaking, and I punch where the radio used to be or something like that.
Nice.
not nice in the words of that, but
yeah. Not at that speed. You're on a pass, and then you just turn the radio on.
yeah,
It's
pretty. I mean, if
great.
I had a radio, yeah, that's the reason I
Yeah.
don't have a radio, because I did punch it. Wait, like 8 years ago, I did punch it and ruin it, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna replace it. Just forget it. But that was the start of the race car era for it, I guess you could say.
Well, anytime you pull the radio out, it's automatically a race car. Who was your co-pilot for Street and Yeet?
It was my dad.
Oh, cool.
Street and Yeet was with my dad. It was the coolest thing ever, man. Having him by my side the whole time. Granted, it rained 2 days of the 4, but it was still an awesome, memorable event.
Right. So this is probably a little deeper than we need to ask, but how old's your dad, and did he think this was the coolest thing he had ever been on?
Dad is 50. He'll be 55 or 6 coming up in a few months. And at first, I have 25 5Ks in the car, and he's not your average 50-year-old guy. I mean, we go to the trampoline park. He's pretty agile. Nice. But about the 10th time getting out of the car, he's like, man, this is getting old,
He's like, I'm just going to stay here. You bring me a drink.
Right. But no, awesome. He enjoyed it a lot. And I think a lot of it is just the pride of seeing his youngin go down the track and do well. And I really didn't think I had a chance at winning. I mean, we had Chris Moore, he's raced deep in the 4s. A lot of people who have been a lot faster than me were in there. And I just, like I say, wanted to finish and do decent. My goal was a sub 550 average, and I think you said 539.7 is what we ended up doing. So
that's really cool. And dude, I'll tell you, the memories that are made during that with your dad, that's priceless, man. It's so cool. My dad and my brother and I did Power Tour in 12 and 13. It was awesome. So let's talk about the setup, because you're one of the only people I know that are 2-valve powered that I know. I mean, there's a lot of folks that are 2-valve, but that I know that race a Mustang. Like, why the 2-valve? Why not just a simple LS setup?
I don't have a really good answer for you. It's kind of one of those things. I bought the car bone stock, put a Vortec on it, and I thought the 2-step was the coolest thing ever. And I just used it, and those stock rods just can't take it. So blew that motor up on New Year's Eve. I went out with a bang, I guess, on that year. And a friend of mine, David Ivey, who used to tune the car when it was on a stock computer, he had a block, a Texas block sitting there. So I was like, okay, I'll at least do that and go 4-valve. That was my thought. Another friend of mine said, I got some heads here. And I was kind of like, you know what? Let's just do what came in the car from the factory. And that was the second rendition of the car, I guess, was a 800-ish horsepower, total street car, like AC. My goal was to run my first 5-second pass with AC. I don't know if that micro record means anything, but that was my goal. But and then everybody was just like, man, you can't do anything with a 2-valve. Put a 4-valve in it, put an automatic in it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to continue my stock computer, continue my 2-valve and my stick shift thing, and just not prove people wrong, but just do it my way, I guess, it's been a hard road to go. And then, like I say, 2 years ago, we kind of we went Holly. We went really, nice motor setup, nice trans setup, and then, of course, a Black Magic clutch now. So we exploded, I guess, from 800 horsepower car to, I'm hoping, 14 to 1500 range.
Come on, dude.
Coming out now. So
that's pretty amazing. That's a bunch.
And still a 2-valve, which is, what came in the car factory. So that's the cool part.
Wow. And then what Holly setup do you have on it?
It's got a Dominator.
Nice. Man, and then trans setup, who do you run with the trans?
So it's a Tick Performance T56. Jonathan Atkins has been really good to me the past, I guess, 4 years I've been with him. Nice. Until yesterday, I guess, I had a Liberty gear set in the trans. Twisted the input shaft, couldn't get one. Ended up going to a G-Force setup with a 266 first gear. So that'll be a little bit more of a learning curve. I'm pretty much going down to sick week, hoping that it is finished by then. I'm sure it will be, but totally untested.
Wow.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, there was a post I think you said the other day, and that's actually that's what got this conversation started about you even being on here. Was you made a post was like 780s, here I come, or this should go 780s, dude. That's wild. That's wild.
I really think if we can get some weight out of the car, it weighs, I think 3380 with me in it.
Wow.
Now I've lost some weight and I've cut some weight out of the car, so I'm hoping for 3250. But I mean, if it don't go 750s one day like it is, then I need help.
That's pretty awesome. It's going to be a good time down there, that's for sure. And then obviously, what kind of, you said Black Magic clutch, but do you have a slipper clutch as well?
Yep, I sure do. Yep, I was actually talking to Kel for about a half hour today. Kelly Aronson with Black Magic, getting the new setup right to match my gear set and everything I'm doing. So,
well, that's cool. So that's two guys that run Black Magic. I see Jeremy's backstage. We'll find out who he runs for clutch setup as well. And then how do you I guess the control this clutch slip is controlled with all the Black Magic. So same thing we asked Chad earlier. And then one of the biggest questions I have is, how do you keep that stuff alive? Like, so many people seem to break stuff. I mean, is it just years and years of driving and becoming faster in a stick car?
Maybe. So like Jonathan Atkins is the one who told me about the no lift shift and the clutchless shifting, and helped us with the rev limiters, soft limiter, and hard limiter and whatnot, being able to make that happen. I guess over time I've gotten some experience and, got pretty quick with shifting. I'm sure there's plenty of people that are way faster shifting than I am. Like Chad, like he's going in sevens and I'm not. So, but no, it's just, I mean, it's trial and error. So when we started this whole setup here, I wanted to go throw everything at it and, go hard in the paint, for lack of a better word, and bust right into the sevens. But what I did was I took about a year and just added, maybe a half a pound here and there of boost, just little bitty adjustments, and it netted us to 820 at 174 or something like that.
Wow.
So it back halves really well, but my 60 foot's always been my issue from day one, just being a heavy car and whatnot. So we're trying to fix that with a different gear set, a little bit of weight, and I'd like to be a high teen, low 20, 60 foot.
Wow. And then what tire do you run on that car?
A 275 Pro.
Nice. Yeah. So a little smaller than what Chad runs. So it'll be, interesting. I think the track prep will be more of what you're used to. I think being in that part of the country, and the altitude and the weather and stuff like that will be a little better. So maybe you have a little bit of, I don't know, advantage there. Maybe, I don't know. We're going to see 19 days from now.
Yeah, right. I don't have a pro mod tire like Chad does, though.
Yeah, I see you laughing there in the back. And then who's co-pilot for Sick Week for you?
My buddy Josh Flint. He has the little Red Devil Fox Body 6-shift guy as well. I met him at Mod Nationals 2 years ago, something like that. And just happened to message him, and his response was, "Say less, I'm there." So
he's like, "I'm in. What day you need me there? I'm in."
Exactly. It's pretty cool to have somebody that's in 6-shift stuff as your co-pilot as well.
Yeah. Well, and then obviously a guy that's been around those motors, that helps a bunch. If you we're not even going to say that it ends up like that again, but if they know how to work on that stuff, it makes it easier for sure.
I'll say if it ends up like drag week, it will go back on the trailer. I will not do all that again. I did it. I got the story. I got the hard work award, or whatever you want to call it, and that was it. I'm done.
That's awesome. Well, you were on KOTV Motorsports last night, and I was watching a little bit of that today. That was a good interview. You said you preferred the shorter format of Street and Yeet to Drag Week. You want to elaborate on that just a little bit?
So I liked it as far as a hardworking standpoint, not having to drive the 250 to 300 miles in between. Yep. I feel like, I mean, nothing against it, but I feel like if you can drive 100 miles, you're a street car. I mean, I don't know that there's a necessity to drive as far as we did, but I mean, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm not going to quit or anything. So
I think they do that just to beat on us.
Right, right.
There's got to be one that's really hard. They can't all be easy. So I think that's what I like about Sick Week coming up is, we're looking at, besides day one, the drive on day one, you're looking at 150, I think 130 miles, our shortest mileage or something like that.
Yeah.
And to your point, that's why for our recording, for Drag-N-Drive.com's recording of Drag-N-Drive event standings, 80 miles between race day average is our thing. That's because I feel like 80 miles proves you've got a street car. You can drive anywhere if you can get 80 miles worth of driving done.
Right. As long as I've got my little Home Depot vents on my bumper, I can drive anywhere.
Dude, that was so cool looking. It's on the shot that we used for the thumbnail of this, but tell us what was going on, because you have no airflow. I'll pull up a picture of your car. You have no airflow on the front of this thing.
Yeah, so I watched Boosted Ego, Eric Bain's Mustang back in the day. Loved that front end, and they don't make that front bumper. Just Motor City Solutions doesn't make it just for like what I have. So they had to pretty much give me the whole bumper plus some pieces, and we had to go in there, me and my body, or mainly my body guy, not me, and cut it the way you see it to make it a actual bumper, because I never wanted to navigate away from the street car, and this was before I even thought about drag week stuff. Then drove it on the road 20 minutes and it started overheating. So I was like, I got to figure this out. And I think Andrew Lavender was the one who told me, let's go Home Depot and just find some ducting, and man, it worked. It worked well. We fattened it up a little bit on the drives, and I think it was 180 degrees, something like that on the drives, and 6 gears pulling a U-Haul.
That's awesome. Are you going to build your own trailer, or are you going to keep renting?
I have a trailer. I have an open trailer, a little Northern Tool or Harbor Freight. Northern Tool. But I just found I'm a marketplace addict. I'm always on there, and I just found a enclosed black 4x6 trailer that I'm set to pick up Friday. So if that works out, that'd be great.
Heck yeah, man. Well, this setup, there's no, you have no airflow here. So I'm gonna flip through. Did Corey of Spooled Media take some photos? There's you and your dad there.
What is that?
I don't know. So there's that. Let me see if I can find a photo of the front. I just typed in your name looking for stuff. Hold on, we're getting there. Hang with me. You can tell when I've not prepared.
That's all right.
So do you ever plan on doing like a trim ring vent or anything in the bumper?
Man, I want to, but it, not being cocky, but it just looks so daggum good. Like I can't bring myself to do it.
You can kind of see them right here, but that's not a good picture.
Yeah, that was pulling into that little cafe right there under the big orange thing. Mm-hmm. And there's a big hill, and it got wrecked. So they're actually pointed way down right there.
Yeah.
But usually they look a little more normal.
Right. And then, so tell us about that purchase. Like they were literally like heater vents or something, right?
Yeah. $8 Home Depot heater vents, man, with like 8 zip ties on each one of them.
Nice.
So on my car, I've got the radiator tilted back, and then I've got a shroud over it to catch the air. And then on the bottom of it, I got a piece of plastic that kind of grabs some air under my bumper and pulls it up into the radiator. And that shroud just keeps it down. It keeps the air down in there. That works pretty well. If I had airflow, I wouldn't have any issue at all, because the radiator is huge. But those vents they're just 90-degree vents, and it just grabbed the air and just went straight up in it, and it worked amazingly. So I was, and it was hot. It was extremely hot. It was so hot to the point where I was driving, and my co-pilot jumped in a different car, and I had a cooler in my passenger seat. I had my hand sitting in the cooler while I'm driving, and my window net up, and I got 5% window tint, so that's blocking it too. It was just bad. It was rough on drag week. Yeah.
It was pretty brutal, but I was driving around in air conditioning, so I don't know. That was the first time I'd ever done that.
Rub it in, why don't you?
Listen, sometimes media gets the specialty treatments. So.
Right.
I see Taco Time Racing in here asking what was that. It was probably talking about the front bumper. and all that stuff. So those guys, I hope we see them out at an event this year. I know we're going to. They're skipping Sick Week, which breaks my heart. So the car's not going to be right, and they're like, give somebody, let somebody from the wait list move forward.
Right,
So,
right.
do you have an updated shot of the car? The last shot I think we had was there's no engine in there.
I do have an engine in there now.
Nice.
Put
Okay.
that in there. Was it last night or two? This is last night. No.
Perfect.
I don't know. Last night or 2 nights ago. And then also have the transmission in front of the car right now, so it'll go in there probably Friday evening or Saturday.
Wow. That's a big move forward. Now, obviously, your turbo doesn't stay like this all the time.
No, it's just sitting on the Maven mount there. It was easier to leave it like that.
Yep. Now, with the 2 valve, are those forward headers and stuff? I guess you have. How do you route that, or is it a log?
How do I what?
How do you route your exhaust? Is it forward?
It is.
Like
Yep.
this?
CG Fab headers, and then they come forward there, and you can. It's kind of small on my screen, but you can see that they come forward there, and then the hot sides. Yep, right there. And then a really good buddy of mine, Jonathan Haymore, did the rest of the turbo kit. I kind of gave him a blank canvas and said, do what you want with it, and made it really, really user friendly. But now how it sits in that picture, even with the crane on it, everything is exactly how it sits right now. We set it in there and didn't even bolt the motor mounts in, and I was done with it.
You're like, I'm tired. Yeah. Well, 19 days left, man. You got your work cut out ahead of you. I'm sure owning this car as long as you had, you've been around it a bunch. It's easy stuff now. I do see air to water set up here. I mean, any big changes between drag week and now?
We got rid of the stock trick flow valves that we had in there. Got some really good valves. I got to give a shout out to Kevin Mullins and TKM Performance. I brought them a lot more hurt motor than I even thought I had, but they got me in and out. I mean, I don't think it was even 2 full weeks. It was pretty ridiculously fast. Got different rods in there. Nothing was wrong with my other rods. I was just at the limit of those rods.
Gotcha.
They're good for 11, 12, and I was all over that. So we got some boost line rods in there. As far as big changes, the trans, like we talked about, that's a change. The refresh the motor, refresh the clutch, and that's really it. Just gonna
just everything.
Yeah, but I mean, not crazy different changes, just kind of refresh stuff, and just enough to where we can have some more power. And whenever I shift into fourth, I'm not like, oh, what's going to happen, And now I'm pretty confident in everything now at the power level we're at.
That's great.
I might have missed it, but did you say what size turbo that was?
That is a Ching Chong VS 88103.
Nice.
Bought secondhand from somebody else, but which is it's kind of funny. A lot of this car is secondhand stuff. It's kind of its story, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Hey, yesterday I bought a used, really nice video camera to bring down, because I was like, I can't afford a new one. So, if you can get used stuff, man, that's the way to go. That's pretty cool. Well, that's exciting. There's a lot of big frame turbos like that are available now that can really make some big power. I mean, it's like that one that you've got on there is awesome. Yeah, and it spools fast. It lights off with the 2-step really fast. It's pretty impressive for what it is, really. I don't have precision $3,000 turbo money, so the VS was the way to go for me. Yeah, big turbo for the budget for sure. Plans for Sick Week and sevens? How do you get there? What's the plan? Have you ran a 7 in the car yet? I guess is my. No, I have not. It is very capable of it. I've been 178 out the back, but with a terrible short time. Nice. Spun of course, but I mean, I think 175 is 7-second territory. It's been 144 to the 8th, and that's that's 4-second territory there. Just that 60 foot is the major Achilles to this car, and I think with little RPM, a little more clutch, the different gear set, I think we've got it. That's great.
I'm gonna be real mad if I run a 7.90 and I said I had to run an 80. I shouldn't say mad. I'd be really happy, of course. And,
Yeah.
But I think we're gonna skip right over and go right to the 80s. I really do. I'm pretty confident in that.
That's awesome. And the cool thing about, we talked earlier, so many stick shift guys being there, and like you three tonight being on here, I mean, there's just going to be a huge group of people that can help move through that process. That's what's great about Drag-N-Drive. Everybody wants everybody to run PBs all week. Everybody wants the fastest for everybody to run. So
yeah.
So that'd be really cool. I mean, that's 2 Black Magic clutches just back to back. So we'll see what Jeremy runs here in a minute. I mean, heck, you guys pit together, and by the end of the week, everybody's in the 7s. Then we're trying to figure, goes from there.
Yeah, I think he's been like a 30 already. I don't know if I got anything for that, but
hey, you got to make the week. You got to make the week.
That Corvette guy though, the LS guy. That's who we got to beat. So we got to team up against him.
That's funny. Well, who's your co-pilot for Sick Week?
Josh Flint.
Josh Flint. That's right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, man, please, I hope you hang out with us and stay here for a little bit, and then come back on. We're going to talk to Jeremy about all the same stuff. I mean, this is going to be a lot of fun tonight. I like the format of sticking with a bunch of stick shift guys. I'm learning a bunch. I think Black Magic clutches is the way to go so far.
Yep, I agree so far.
All right, man. Well, perfect. We'll see you in just a little bit. I'll bring you back on after Jeremy's episode for what we're going to call After Hours. I've got some beers in the cooler here, and we're going to talk about just kind of free roam stuff. It won't be real scripted or anything like that. It'll be great. So,
all right, brother. I appreciate you.
Thanks, man. All right, dude. You ready? Last guest. All right. He's been backstage for a while now. I appreciate his patience. All right. Yeah. Stick Shift Nation in here making Stick Shift Racing is the best. What's up, Jeremy? How are you, sir?
Good, man. How you doing?
Dude, I'm doing great. Like I just said, I'm excited about tonight. I really don't know anything about stick shift stuff. I've owned one stick shift in my entire life. I've always heard automatics are faster, but obviously people are proving us wrong tonight. So
yeah, I would disagree with
that. we're gonna roll right into this. So obviously tell everybody who you are and where they can find you on social media.
My name is Jeremy Howell. I'm one of the owners of Fat House Fabrications. I don't do a lot on Facebook, but you can follow me on Facebook. Jeremy Howell, or follow our Facebook page. It's Fat House Fabrications or Fat House Performance.
Nice. Awesome. Well, dude, I think you are the fastest racer here tonight because I have seen some time slips in the 730s. Is that right in that car?
Yeah, I went 730s last year at Maryland.
That's nuts. And you're another drag weeker in this group as well. So
yeah, drag week was my first Drag-N-Drive.
Oh man, wow, that's fun. So you just go right to the godfather of it, man. That's great.
Yeah. Well, I tried to get in. We tried Midwest Drags, and we scrambled to get the car ready, and then broke the clutch the first pass.
Oh man, dang!
And did it real quick and got it ready for drag week, and then we made it through drag week.
That's awesome. Well, I know Eric got a bunch of pictures of your car from a ton of different angles on the Motorsports Paparazzi page. So I was tagging you in those and also enjoy looking at those. Let's talk about your drag week because your average, running 730s and finishing with 730s, we all know is completely different. 9,282 is what I show for your average from drag week. So I didn't pull your fastest pass or anything like that. But what was going on the week of drag week?
Well, it was the first Drag-N-Drive, so I went with I only had an 850 cage in the car, so I went with a diaphragm clutch anyway, so I wouldn't really have to work on it. And it was just try to learn the setup. The car was pretty untested at that time or whatever. So I think the first day it spun real bad. I went like a 9.6. The second day it spun pretty good, and I went like a lower 9. I think it was Byron the second day or the third day. But by the time we went to Byron was the third day. So by the time we went to Byron, I was pretty antsy to run an 8. So I just poured 4 or 5 more pounds of boost to it. Then went 840. Then I couldn't turn that time slip in, so I slowed it back down. And then I think I went an 8 something there. And I know I went an 8 the last day at St. Louis, but I made a pass before the rain.
Yeah.
So they didn't get out that pass. But
yeah, that was sad. I was really hoping it would have been great if they could have opened up the lanes earlier, and I think we probably could have got everybody in one pass on Friday morning. But I get it. You know, they were trying to be as safe as possible.
Yeah, for sure. I was looking forward to the stick shift shootout.
Oh yeah, for sure. Who is your co-pilot for Drag Week?
My buddy Kyle is actually the guy I bought the car off of. Yeah,
Cool.
What was it ever as fast with him driving it?
Oh no, it was like an old school 5-liter, like push rod 5-liter. It was a turbo car. It went like 930s. That was years ago. And then it kind of sat around for a while, and I've had the car for like 5 years. It just was a slow build for a while until about the last year when I was able to put it together.
Yeah, it's a really neat combo. It's one of the few that I've seen in person, and I really like it. But let's talk about like power level. What kind of horsepower is the car making now?
Well, it's on a whole new setup now. Last year it had a 91 millimeter on it. I mean, on like 23 or 24 pounds of boost, it made mid 1300s on the dyno. We didn't run it harder than that. It took about 34 pounds of boost to trap 195. So 1700 or something or whatever, you know.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah. It went like 154 in the eighth out there. It was rolling.
Wow. Yeah. What's the engine combo now?
It's a flat plane crank GT350 engine. So it's
nice.
We do a lot of twin turbo GT350s. Fast Forward Racing engine builds all our engines, and it's our standard package. It's a sleeve short block, Ross pistons, and stock heads, stock cams, stock port, stock throttle body. You know, like we use as many stock parts as we can for sure.
Man, that's crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can't imagine stock cams takes it that far. That's pretty wild.
Oh yeah.
Is there a VVT setup on that or something?
Yeah.
Why am I not understanding it? Okay.
Yeah, we keep it active. So we keep the cams active, and it makes power to like 9,200.
Wow. No wonder that car sounds so good.
Yeah, she's a screamer for sure.
That's awesome. Well, what do you use to control? Like what's your engine control unit?
Motec has a Motec M150 in it.
Wow. You're probably one of the few Motec guys that I've spoken with. You know, most everybody runs a Holly setup. Is that just personal preference? Is that your tuner preference? Why Motec?
Both. I mean, my tuner is Corbin Johnson. He tunes for us at the shop. We use Motec and everything exclusively at the shop. So,
wow.
Other than the turbo setup, just for like space constraints and a Fox body, like my combo is basically what we would do to a 350.
Wow.
Just in a Fox body, you know.
Right. And then what trans are you running in it?
It's a T56 Magnum with a PPG gear set.
Wow.
So it's actually it's a straight cut, first through fourth, and helix cut, fifth, sixth.
Now, what does that mean? Walk me through what that even means.
Well, just the first through fourth gears are straight cut, so there's no angle through the gears, so they're stronger, but they're real loud, real whiny. And then fifth and sixth are standard, so it's quiet on everything. That's
pretty smart, I would think, because then you're just cruising along and it's quiet, fifth and sixth. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's a little bit noisier than normal because the input's straight, but relatively quiet.
Nice. And then obviously we're going to ask about clutch. Who do you use for your clutch setup?
Well, last year on Drag-N-Drive, I had a diaphragm clutch in it, or last year on Hot Rod Drag Week, I had a diaphragm clutch in it. So I had an RPS triple carbon. I'll probably have the RPS triple carbon in it for Sick Week as well. And then last year at Maryland, I had an advanced dual 8-inch billet clutch.
Wow.
So slipper clutch in it.
Yeah. So is the RPS setup, is that just is it more street friendly? What's the?
Well, at Drag Week, I only had an 850 cage in it, so I just didn't really want to have to mess
drive around with an 8-inch clutch in it. Yeah, I can understand that. And then,
the carbon clutches are real nice. They're very nice and slippable or whatever. They drive real well. This is the same clutch we would use in a customer package for like a 350 or something.
Wow. Man, that's crazy that you can make that kind of power on a stock cam. That really blows my mind.
Well,
right.
It makes it drive great. Like the car just drives normal, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing, you know, obviously most of the stuff we've done is LS stuff and old school small block Chevrolet. You know, you end up with a cam that's too big. You need that to make the power you want, but you hate driving that thing around. It's just kills any kind of idle control and like driving off the stoplight without your foot in it, you know.
Yeah.
Let's talk launch control. Is that part of the Motec setup too?
Yeah. The Motec has for the street, it has pretty comprehensive traction control. I use the traction control at the track. Like it's saved me quite a few passes at our local tracks. We can see the thing spinning the tires, trying to spin the tires all the way down the track, but the computer's keeping it from running away from itself or whatever. We use the Motec launch control and shift cut strategies and stuff or whatever. I don't know that I could really explain it to give it justice.
Yeah, no, you're over my head anyways already.
Yeah.
So, and then the rear axle, what do you have all set up there?
It's the 8A. It's got 10 soldiers, brackets, and brace kit and stuff in it. But it's 35 spine axles, 373 gears. I ran
awesome.
The bracket pro radial last year when I had the slipper clutch in it.
Yep. And then obviously we'll just move right into tires, and same thing this year. You like a 275/60 tire or what?
Last year on drag week, I put a slick on it because I had the diaphragm clutch. So thick week will probably be the same. And then it was the pro bracket radial when I put the radials on it. So I swapped back and forth.
And then this person's asking whose gears in the T56. Miss what you were said?
PPG.
That's awesome. Co-pilot, you got planned for Sick Week? Who's coming with you?
My good friend and business partner, John Lucas, is coming with me.
Oh, nice. That'll be fun. So you spend all week together at the shop, and now you're going to spend all week together.
Yeah, right. We've basically been all week together since high school.
That's cool. That's really cool. And then obviously, I mean, there's not much you're going to need to do to make this car run sevens. Probably turn it down some to run some high sevens or mid sevens.
Everything's new with the setup now. So, I mean, I don't even have the engine back for the car yet. So,
oh my!
So it'll be
you same engine panic, combo. Bro.
Yeah, same engine combo, but it's fresh, inspected and everything. But it's got a new 98 millimeter turbo on it now. New intercooler, new radiator, new turbo kit, new headers, crossover, everything.
So
Red Hat Scotty here is asking, what's it weigh?
Last year at Maryland, it was 3060.
Wow,
3060.
That's awesome.
It's still got power windows. I mean, obviously Drag-N-Drive stuff. Like it's got a big 20-gallon fuel cell, big radiator on it.
Yeah, it's got to be able to live. But I would think with the factory cam setup, and if there's not too much tubing under the hood for exhaust stuff, you probably, I mean, it doesn't really overheat. The Mustangs have always been pretty decent at airflow. So
no, yeah, I put a big oil cooler on it. It's got a big radiator on it. Like, I mean, it did great last year.
Wow, man, that's exciting. That's
other than the vibrations of the plastic crank engine, they're a little buzzy. So
how much fabrication had to go into fitting that engine in the Fox body?
I mean, it just went right in there. I had a AJE Coyote K member for it. So it just basically went in, and then we just built whatever we needed to build to make it fit.
Okay.
Yeah, we built the turbo kit and stuff in house. So.
Yeah, the new setup, Taylor here saying cheated at race car. The new setup, is it flow better? You think? I mean, why rebuild the turbo kit?
Honestly, I built the turbo kit like 3 or 4 years ago. Never really planning to go as fast as we did. Like I built it to do Drag-N-Drive, but it was just going to kind of be like a mid 8-second car. Mm-hmm. And if the year before last, I drove my business partner's car. It was a black S197, and we ended up getting that thing into 750s. Ran mid sevens in that last year at Maryland, and then the discussion kind of came up where we ended up selling that car, taking my car a little bit farther, and then that turbo kit was just pretty maxed out. It was like 1.5-inch primary headers, 2-inch crossover, and like a S400 base turbo. So it was an S400 base 91 millimeter from Robert at Force Performance. Yeah. And it was like in Maryland, basically I would shut the wastegate off the clutch switch. So as soon as we would launch it about 5,800 RPM and make about 18 pounds of boost, and then we would just shut the wastegate, let it go.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. All right, so let's see. We talked about. God, I guess that covers everything. I feel like that was the rapid fire. We just barraged you with questions there. So I'm going to do this. Let's bring all the other folks back on, and let's have some conversations about what everybody's doing for sick week, for, as long as anybody wants to talk, and definitely tell some stories. That's probably part of the stuff we missed earlier, was the storytelling, because that's what makes Drag-N-Drive what it is. So I'm going to bring Chad on. Taylor has his camera off, so maybe he's eating or something like that. So
there he is.
I see him pop back on here. So, quick run through again, in case somebody is new. Let's run through and just reintroduce ourselves, starting with Jeremy, and then we'll loop to Chad and then to Taylor.
Yeah. Jeremy Howell, Firehouse Fabrications.
Chad Fegley, the Shop Inc.
Taylor Hedrick, Elite Equipment Company.
Awesome. Well, if people are just getting here, guys, the reason you guys are here is y'all are the fastest stick shift drivers in Drag-N-Drive at the moment.
He's the fastest.
Well,
You're the fastest.
yeah, you're the fastest to finish the week. And I think that's what everybody needs to understand, is like, cars may be faster. People may be able to lay down a better pass, but you got to make the whole week. Taylor almost didn't finish drag week because of this. I don't know if I'd have pulled the heads and gone to the short block. You know what I mean? But I think that's
impressive. I got to say, I don't want to work on my car at all. So for you guys to be doing that is freaking awesome. I love it.
I won't do it again.
I watched him do it. They were pitted right behind us at Cordova, and we got to our Airbnb that night, and I checked on Facebook, and he had just posted that they started it. I was like, man.
Wow.
I watched Rich Guido do head gaskets on the GTO last year, and you guys that work on that kind of stuff is awesome, because I do it all week. I don't want to do it on my vacation too,
Right.
Yeah, I think a lot of that runs into people being around you and really pushing you to do that. We broke the trans in the NARCS cart, and it was late in the day. We would have had to repair it, and then a 4-hour drive to Oklahoma City. We're like, there's no way we're going to make a pass to finish the week. So we just gave up. I haven't touched that car in a year and a half. So it's got to get back out. But, if you're in the thick of things, you hurt the car at the track, and there's everybody standing around you that has parts or has an ability to, get you parts. I think that's what makes the Drag-N-Drive community so great, is that you end up, everybody's like, hey, let's do it. I'll grab a wrench and start taking stuff apart too.
Yep.
It's pretty awesome. So do you guys want to tell some stories? You want to anybody else break anything on a drag week or race week or anything like that?
Knock on wood, I've been pretty lucky with that. Try to just be as prepared as possible before I go, and been pretty lucky so far. Hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. We hope it does for you, for sure, because your wife's a co-pilot. So
right.
Be like, honey, pull that head off. I'll pull this head off. We'll be good.
Engine-wise, it's pretty easy to work on, but everything else-wise just suck. So hopefully, if there are any issues, hopefully it's up front, because that's easy to do. Anything
for sure,
clutch, rear end, tranny-wise is a nightmare. So, especially now that I did a 25-2 in it, with having to have the number one bar that goes underneath, you can't drop everything out like you do on a Corvette normally. So it all has to come straight out the back. So you have to pull everything out. It's not fun.
Yeah. So with the torque tube, how does that work?
Everything has to come straight out the back. So I got to pull the diff off, then the tranny, then the torque tube comes out, then I can get to the clutch. It's probably realistically easier to pull the motor out.
Do you have a window to adjust your clutch?
I do, on the bottom of my bell housing.
Well.
Wow. That's wild. That is wild. So we talked about tires. Everybody seems to be running different tires, I guess. Jeremy, did you say you were on slicks? Is that right?
Yeah. Slicks, and I switched back and forth between the slicks and pro bracket radials.
For drag week you did?
Well, for whatever clutch I had in last year.
Oh,
when
I got you.
Clutch in it last year. With drag week, I had slicks on it. Then when I went to the advanced clutch, I put the pro bracket radial on it.
I got you. And what's your plan for you going to be on slicks because you have the diaphragm clutch in for sick week?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, see, I'm picking it up. I remember this stuff. I won't remember it by the time we get to sick week in 19 days.
Yeah, for sure.
So
and I think everybody's running T56 for trans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's what I thought I caught.
Yeah.
That's what I have in the 240 as well, but it's bone stock.
Yeah, but that's an NA car. Like you don't have any nitrous or anything like that on it yet. So
No.
yeah, the Mustang's a little different. What trans do you have in the Mustang? Is it a 400?
That's a 350.
It's a twin turbo LS setup in it. It's a cool car. I keep trying to bend his arm to do one of these. He's talking about doing Six Summer because it's around the corner from him. But I'm like, man, I need you to go and get content because I'm not going to be able to be there. So
I can be the media guy and still drive the 240 there. Best of both
I don't know,
worlds.
man. Maybe like drive the car. You can't race and do it. It's too hard. I tell you.
No.
It's tough.
We're already registered for Six Summer as well.
Oh,
Nice.
Cool.
Yep,
Where is Six Summer at?
Basically where Drag Week was last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cordova and Byron and
Great Lakes and something else. Tri-State or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is. Yeah, Cordova, Byron, Tri-State, and what was the other one?
Great Lakes.
Great Lakes, yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. That's unfortunately the same week as Autocross Week, and I'm announcing it Autocross Week, so I'm out there. But anyways, yeah, it's going to be a good time. So, well, guys, what do we want to talk about? What's some questions you have, or what's some questions in the audience that maybe we've missed here leading into Sick Week? Again, 19 days. Jeremy doesn't have his motor even in his hands yet.
Nope.
Taylor's
right now.
Taylor's putting his together, got the turbo laying on it. Chad's, is yours together? Like you're ready to go?
Together. I freshened the motor after race week last year. I had an issue getting ready to go to race week on the dyno. I burned a plug and knocked some porcelain off and dented the shit out of the top of the piston. So I put new pistons in it, freshened it up, and I just dynoed it again the other night. Probably going to dyno it again tomorrow. And then it's just get the trailer ready for a 2-day drive and go from there.
Yeah. How many miles is it to start for you? It's a bunch, right?
It's a bunch. It's 23 hours from my house to Orlando. So
Are you driving the Corvette?
no. It would be awesome. Like Rich driving the GTO from Canada, like
that's awesome.
Like Mac Daddy, like he is in my book, like up here. You know what I mean? Like 100%. That is insane. That's so cool.
Yep.
I could never. I'd be so scared to drive the Vet that far. Like that's nuts. But
dude, and you'd be way easier driving the Vet. Parts are way more available for that than the GTO. Like, you know,
for sure, absolutely.
Yeah, you just have to drive the Vet that far. That'd be hard.
We do have a question here. Red Hat Scotty is saying, "What made you want to do a Drag-N-Drive event?" So, do we want to start with Jeremy and kind of go around with that?
Yeah.
I just think they're cool. Like, I think High Rod came through Indy years ago, 2012, 13 or something like that or whatever. And I took the day off of work. We had just started the shop or whatever. So we left the shop for a day and went out to the track. And it was basically the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, whole pit area full of race cars and not a truck and trailer in sight.
Yeah. Yeah, which is definitely abnormal for Drag-N-Drive.
Yeah.
Chad?
Agreed. It's just been around Drag Week forever. All my friends did that and then started doing race week. And so when I started getting pretty serious about the Vet, like I built it specifically for Drag-N-Drives just because that's what I wanted to do. Locally, there's not a whole lot of competitive stick shift racing. So, you know, it made sense to do something where I could go be in the class where I could be with other people that had what I had. So,
yeah. Taylor?
Yeah, for me, it was it's kind of the same thing. I thought it was cool, but around my area, people always, for some reason, just like to say my car is not a street car. And I was like, well, I'm going to go do this just to prove you guys wrong. And my buddy Rye, who wired the car, he's from Clapped Out YouTube channel. He's done it before and kind of pushed me to, help me get set up, getting my NHRA license and all that stuff. And it was just, everything fell into place, and now I'm obsessed with it. So,
yeah, it will change your life.
I know, Chad, you said you built your car specifically for Drag-N-Drive. Well, what about Jeremy and Taylor? Was yours specifically built for Drag-N-Drive, or did you just decide to do it once the car was built?
No, I mean, as I laid everything out, I built it with that in mind. So it built around a large radiator, large fan. It's got a big oil cooler on it, big fuel cell. So I built it planning to drive it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I built my car to drive it, but I always said I'll do drag week one day, and that was kind of as far as it went. You know, I did never really thought I'd do it. So I built it to drive it. I drive my car a lot. Rain, it don't matter when it is, just whatever. But I never really thought I'd do drag week. I thought it was a pipe dream just because the distance and work and whatnot, and everything just worked out well.
Yeah, and then so what people don't know if they haven't been following Street and Yeet, you guys, it was torrential hurricane rain for 2 straight days. Like
Man,
the
it
first 2
was
days of the event, and they weren't scared, Devin. Them, they just like, hey, we're having the event. You can't drive in the rain, stay home.
yeah, it was rough. I mean, we got in the lanes, and I think it was like 17 cars, something like that, went down, and then just rain. And a lot of people dropped out right then, and I don't blame them. I mean, I didn't really want to put my car in a position to, possibly wreck it on the highway or something like that, whatever. So I was, fortunately for me, Chris Moore was one of those guys who I think he wanted to get to a church revival instead of stay there, and I don't blame him one bit for that. So I know he's a faster guy than me, so it worked out for me. Gave me a fighting chance. So
You saw him loading up, you're like, maybe I will stay.
yeah, right. But no, I just wanted to. I mean, the hotels were booked and paid for. The
Yep.
time was already off. My dad had the time off, and I figured, if I want my dad as my co-pilot, I might as well take advantage of the one that's local to me because I live in the Carolinas, and that's where it was in. All across the state line, back and forth is where the Street and Eat was. So
Yeah.
I don't think I'll get them down to Florida for that one, or we're also doing Midwest drags. We're signed up for that one too.
Heck yeah, man.
Which
I'll
comes
be
to the East Coast.
Yeah, I'll be there running the pit. I'll be pit announcing there as well. So
Okay.
that's one of my events this year. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm ready to see you guys in person again too, but then be back on that. The Midwest Drags has the best live stream of any drag and drive event, just because we're running around with cameras. The camera I just bought yesterday will allow me to tie into the live stream as well. So we'll have even more cameras this year that are going to be in the pits, getting those shots and talking to racers and all that kind of stuff. That's what I love to do. So really bring some hype to the people that are at home that are like, dang, why haven't I done a drag and drive yet? Or somebody that is missing out on that event. So it's going
It
to
is
be a good
awesome.
time. Yeah. Yeah.
Are
And
you all on 2 fuel systems or 1 fuel system or?
Yeah, I'm E85. It's got a flex fuel sensor in it, so
Nice.
Yeah, I'm risky. I got the stock tank; it's sumped. But E85, no fuel sensor until now. I actually just put one in the car. I didn't even have a drive shaft sensor until right now. So we have a Holly Dominator, but we don't take advantage of half the stuff. So we're slowly getting into all that now, and it's just been a very slow process. But we plan to come out pretty competitive this year.
Nice.
And Chad, are you on too? And what do you run?
I got a dual fuel system. I got a 15-gallon drive tank and then a 5-gallon methanol tank.
Nice. What do you typically drive on? Are you just pump gas or
It'll do whatever I can get. Normal, just premium, or if I can get ethanol, it'll run cooler on ethanol, so I'll throw that in there. But
wow. I do like your turbo being down in the only opening in the front of the Corvette. Does that affect coolant temps and things like that?
I mean, radiator's clear in the back, so the turbo being up there, the engine stays pretty cool. I drive with my hood. Luckily, with Corvette being reverse hood opening, I just leave the back of the hood open a little bit. My radiator's pretty small in the back. It's between the stock frame rails on a Corvette, which is like not very wide at all. So I definitely fight heat issues. So that's my biggest thing, is just cruising at the speed that it likes to run at and go from there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm hoping we see some warmer temps this year at Sick Week. It was chilly last year, several days. So
it's like 20 here right now. So 60s would be nice even.
Yeah. You're like, hey, I'll take that all day for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it snowed here last night. We were supposed to get 5 or 8 inches, and I think we got 3.5. So
nice.
did it snow on any of you guys? I guess it probably hadn't made it to the Carolinas yet, but Jeremy, you say you're in Indy?
I'm from Indy, but I'm actually in Atlantic City right now. So
Oh, yeah.
it's raining and gross right here. Yeah, we got some snow back at home.
Yeah, we did last night. I woke up this morning to a few inches. I'm in northern Illinois, so
Yeah.
we've
We got
got a
somebody.
comment here saying Rich's car made over 1,500 under 6,000 RPM. So we're talking tractor pull and drive event.
That car is just wild to me. I mean, I think he said it's 515 cubic inches. So it's got a lot of cubic inch. So tons of torque from that as well.
My
Yeah,
car
super
starts to
impressive.
get cool at $6,000. That's when it starts to get fun.
Yeah. And you said you turn it to 92 or 9,800?
92 ish,
God,
a little over
that's
9.
crazy. I mean, that's way. I mean, what do you guys turn your stuff to?
I turned mine to 84.
I shifted 78.
Wow, man, you guys are nuts. Well, y'all, I want to say thank you for hanging out tonight. We're going to see you in 19 days. I'm going to come down. I'll find you with the camera, and we'll get some more content. Obviously, we'll be following along with you guys throughout the week. Hopefully, building on the story of the first 7-second average. And
All of us. How about 3 7-second averages?
dude,
There
I'm
you
telling
go.
you, I'm in. That'd be great to just fall like the 806 is nothing anymore now. It's like
Right.
that's way down the list. So
So if
we
that's
do-
the case, I guess it's the first to turn in the slip on the last day is the technically the first guy in the 7-second average.
yeah, right. That's right. That's right. That's exactly. I'll be standing in line like you guys. I'll be up front. You grab me as you're going to turn in if you're the first one.
Did
We'll
you
have
guys
the-
see the 695 that was run over
Yeah.
the weekend with
Oh,
the
yeah.
LS?
Nick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So awesome.
Yeah, that's wild. That's fast.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
especially
It's
in
brand new.
an S10. Like, I mean, could you get more of a brick than that? I mean, like a little more aerodynamics on something would it have been faster? I don't know. What setup does that dude run in that? Does anybody know?
I know it's a Tick T56. I'm pretty sure it is anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's twin turbo LS base, but I don't know exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, that's nuts. Well, cool. Well, guys, thank you again for hanging out. I'm gonna put you backstage. You're more than welcome to hang out for a minute. Me and Eric are gonna finish the show, and then we can all talk a little more and get some plans made for Sick Week. So
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate you guys.
thanks, y'all. Dude, I had a blast tonight.
It's
Those guys are awesome. I really learned a bunch. Like there's so much to stick shift racing that, Chad and those guys were talking on the clutch burners that there's no like somebody could have the exact same combo as the racer next to them and they run a completely different time because of their ability to shift gears and things like that. So
Yeah, and like I said, me having a T56 and the 240, it's like a lot of the stuff is still new to me. So
Yeah.
I guess once I start going faster, I'm definitely gonna have to learn a little bit, huh?
yeah. Once you start racing that thing at Drag-N-Drive event, you'll have to start learning a little bit. So I want to say thanks to Dirty Panda. I saw his comments throughout the night. Hashtag Race Car Friends is our probably one of the best ways to find Drag-N-Drive.com's content on Facebook. We have so many people that are obviously Race Car Friends with us. I do want to say thanks to Sweet Patina again for sponsoring the Built for Drag-N-Drive. We have a new segment coming up. I will put this out there right now. We are not going to do the Drag-N-Drive news this week. My daughter has a gymnastics tournament and is competing Saturday morning. So I don't need to be on the live stream Saturday morning talking to race car people. I need to be focusing on her, and then, so we'll have it back the week after that. And I'll have all kinds of cool content that is, obviously Built for Drag-N-Drive is what we kind of center around for the Drag-N-Drive news. And that whole segment's brought by Sweet Patina. And then Molly Motorsports, obviously appreciate them for coming on. They are definitely helping us buy better equipment, make travel arrangements for these trips that we're planning for this year and things like that. And then everybody sees our friends Racing Junk right over here. We have a trade partnership agreement with them. So it's really kind of fun. We'll be probably, I would think next week, let's maybe kick that back off, see what we found on racingjunk.com on the classified. So
And what's
Yes.
pretty funny, as I was going through my Drag Week 2022 photos, the Malibu wagon that I had posted for my Found on Racing Junk was one of
Yeah.
the photos that I went through.
How cool, man. So it's actually, yeah, one of the ones that you saw. If you guys haven't seen that episode, was that 2 weeks ago that we did that or last week?
I think it was 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't believe we're on episode 6 of this already. So thank you to
Yeah.
everybody that's hung out tonight and has watched this and been through this with us. It's only going to get better from here. We're only going to have better guests. Not that any guest that we've had has been bad. We're just going to get so many more stories. There's so many opportunities within the Drag-N-Drive community. And as these events grow, new people come in. So it allows for new stories and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see you guys at this point, I guess, next Wednesday. Man, it's weird to be not live for more than a week or for a week. So it'll be strange. So anyways, all right, Eric, tell them bye.
See you guys later. Thanks for watching.